Today I'm going to be walking you through a solar panel quote automation workflow which I built all in NA10. So what it does is it takes in a user's form input if they're interested in getting solar panels for their property. So if I go over to the form now, a user will fill out a form like this. Obviously the colors will be customizable and everything, but they'll fill out details with their name, email, phone number, what their current electricity bill is, and importantly their address and a picture of the front of their property. This is then going to trigger our whole workflow and start this whole process, but I'm just going to quickly show you what we actually get out at the end, which is an email of a fully customizable quote for that property. Okay, so I've just gone onto my email here from an example that it sent me, and this is what it would look like for the quote it would send. So it would send me our address. I've just put in a random address in the US here. It's told us what our 20-year savings is going to be, given us some description, and this is the really cool part. So we've gone and got our satellite images, and we've used AI to place what our solar panels would look like on this property. So it looks really cool. Again, so this is what the user would have put as the street view of their property, and we've gone and also used AI to input images on here. We've given some system specifications, a financial overview, how long it would take them to break even, and even some special things about where the property is. So because it's in Texas, it's got some property tax exemption. And then we've got at the end how much contribution it makes to the environment. So it's a really, really cool automation and will actually save solar companies loads of time. So currently what a solar company would have to do is it would receive this form in from a customer and they'd have to go and send out a surveyor, which had to go to the property, survey the property, look around, look at the roof, write some details down. Then we'd have to come back, do some calculations, and then send off this quote to them. This is a very long process, maybe even takes more than 1 or 2 days. So an automation like this can save a solar company loads and loads of time. Okay, I'm going to quickly walk through what each of these nodes does in our workflow, and then I'm going to help you build it. So our first one here is just our tally trigger. So whenever someone fills out the form, this is going to trigger our workflow to start. And then our first node here is going to be our geocode address node. So this is where we're going to get the geocode for the address that the customer has inputted in. So a geocode is basically just another version that of an address that a computer can work with nicely rather than a basic address like this. Then once we've got our geocode, we're going to do something pretty cool here, which is we're going to use an API from Google. So Google actually has lots of different APIs, and we've used a few of them in this workflow. But one of the cool APIs it has is an API which allows you to get details about a property, and more specifically, details about its solar potential. So what we're going to do is we're going to give our geocode into this solar node here, which we're going to get loads of details about the property. So you can see here, this is what we've got in our output. Basically gives it all the details on how much solar potential that property has. We're then going to give this information to our first AI node, where it's going to calculate how many panels that go on that property. And then we're going to take it to our next node here, where we're going to get an aerial view of that property. So we're going to go into Google Maps and get a satellite image. So if I go to the property here, if I click view, so this is the satellite image here that we've pulled up. And then we're going to put that into our next AI node, where we're going to add the solar panels that we've calculated that we're going to need onto our satellite image. So if I go into edit image here, this is the AI roof, and you can see it's put out 14 solar panels on this roof, and it's even enhanced the quality as well. Now these next couple nodes are just going to be where we upload and download our images that we've just created, and also ones from our tally form here to a URL, just so we can use them in our email. So I'm not going to go into too much detail right now. I'll show you that in the workflow. Then we have our next AI node here, where we're going to use that street view image that a user would have given us, and we're going to input our solar panels onto that image as well. So as you can see here, this is the image that they were given us, and we've used AI to input solar panels on their image they would have given us. And again, we're just going to be using this node here to get URLs and things like that, so we can use it in our email. And then our final node here, or our final AI node, is where we're going to generate an email to be in that specific template that we want. And then finally, our last node is where we're going to send that email off to the customer. So that's the one that I just showed you. It's going to look like that in that template, obviously with the relevant addresses. Okay, so now you know what this workflow is all about, how much value it can bring. Let's start building it. So the first node we want to add is our tally trigger node here. So we're literally going to search up tally trigger, and then you want to hit here, and then you're probably going to need to install it if you haven't already, and then hit add to workflow. Now, once you come onto your Tally node, you obviously need to connect to your account, which I'm going to show you how to do in just a second if you haven't already. And then we're going to select our form that we need to create first from our Tally account. Okay, so you want to go over to tally.com, and to get your API key, which we need to connect to our NAN, go to settings, and then we're going to go to API key here. So I've obviously already made one for NAN, but if you haven't, just click create API key and copy this key. Then go back over to your Tally account, to your NAN, to the Tally node, and hit create new credential, and then literally paste your API key in there and then hit save. So now you've connected everything up. Now we need to create our form on Tally. Okay, so to go and create a new form on Tally, we literally want to go to our workspace area here and then hit new form. I'm not going to do it because I've already got one, but you literally just hit new form. I'm going to show you how we add in different fields. So you want to go into your form. I'm just going to hit edit on mine so I can get into the same view that you're going to be in. And we want to add in a few different fields here. So we want to add our name, our email, phone number, what our current electricity bill is, address, the state, city, zip code, and a picture of the front of our property here. So to add in fields in Tally, all you literally need to do is hit plus here, and then you can add various different ones. So short answers, long answers, and I'm going to tell you which ones you need for each of these fields. So for each of these, the first one is, or the first couple are short answers. You can probably even put a short answer for the phone number as well, but this is a phone number field. This is a short answer field, an address, which is also a short answer, and the same for the state, city, and the zip code. And then for the final one, where you want to upload an image, I'll just show you quickly how to do that. But you just want to hit the file upload one here, and then hit insert. Now, obviously, you can jig these all around, change the colors up, do whatever you want. But once you're happy with it, then you just want to hit publish here. Okay, now once you've created your form and you've connected your Tally account up, this is going to pop up here with your different options of the forms that you've created in Tally, and you want to select the solar panel quote one. Okay, perfect. Now we've got our form created, so a user can fill that out. It's going to trigger our workflow. We need to have our first node, which is actually going to take some action. So this node here, like I mentioned, this is where we're going to get the geocode for the address that's been filled in. Okay, so for a few of the nodes here, we're actually going to need to enable a few APIs that we get from Google Cloud. So you want to head over to Google Cloud quickly. If you haven't got an account, it's really easy to set up. And then once you've done that, go to console. So the first one we want to enable is the solar API. So this will be able so we can get some details about the address and its solar potential. So literally just search up solar API here, click on the first link. And then I've obviously already enabled it. So it says API enabled here, but you usually just want to hit enable and then that's good to go. Now, the next one we want to activate is our geocoding API. So this is going to allow us to get the geocode for the property. So you want to literally hit this first link here. And the same thing, hit enable to enable your API. And then the final one we want to do is the static maps API, which is going to allow us to get a satellite image of our property. So say this first one here, map static API, and then the same thing, hit enable. Okay, now once you've enabled all of those APIs, we need to go over to API and services. So on APIs and services, you want to hit credentials. And then I've obviously already got my API key over here, but you want to hit create credentials and then hit API key. And then create an API key and make sure you copy that API key as we're going to be using it a few times in this workflow. Okay, so getting to the first node back in our NAN workflow, now we want to add in a HTTP request. So you literally want to hit plus here and then search up HTTP request to hit this node. So we just got a few APIs from Google Cloud, and now we're going to be using our first one here, which is where we're going to get the geocode. So this is the URL that we want to hit as our endpoint here. I'm just going to go over to the geocode documentation. You can see, gives you information on all of this. So this is actually what we're using here. And where it says /output format, there's a couple options, JSON or XML. And as you can see here, I've used the JSON option. Now we want to leave our method to get, and then we want to turn on send query parameters. And we want to put one of our first ones as address. Okay, so in the value part here, what you want to do is you want to put in the address that the customer would have filled in. So you want the first part was the main line of their address, their city, their state, and the zip code. So once you've run this Tally trigger, you can either just copy this text over. I'll put all the templates in the description so you can use for free. But if you're building this from scratch and you want to drag and drop these over, or you can just copy the text. So the first one you want to put in is, so if I scroll down here, you want to drag the value part over into there, then put a comma, and then you want to put in the city, which is down here somewhere. City. Make sure you don't do the label, you want to do the value, and you put that into the second part, and then comma, and the same thing for the state and the zip code. And then for the next part, our other query, we're going to put the name as key, and then in the value part, we're literally going to copy our API key into that box there. I'm not going to show you mine, I'm going to delete it anyway, but this is where you want to put your API key in so we can access this API endpoint. Okay, and then once you've done that, literally click out or hit save, and you're good to go on to the next node. So now we've got the geocode address. We're going to send this off to another API to get some Solr details about it. So again, we want to hit HTTP requests. Cool, and then hit that. And then it's going to start your next node. Again, we want to leave it as a get, and this is going to be our endpoint this time. So again, I've just gone over to the Google documentation here. If you want to access all of these docs, when we're just on the Google console, and once you've activated your APIs, there's a little button to go over to the documentation. So you can literally just click on those to see all this information. But as you can see, we've got our endpoint over here, and we've got a few different parts we need to put into it. So we've got the latitude, the longitude, and the required quality that we want here. So we're going to put these as our queries. So you just want to copy this endpoint, which was on that documentation, and then you want to turn these send queries parameters on here. And then in the query parameters, you want to put location.latitude, and you want to drag the latitude variable that we would have got from our geocode address. So if you want to drag and drop these over, scroll down to where it's the geometry field, and then drag latitude over there. And then the same thing for longitude, you want to drag that into that box of the value there. And then the next one is the required quality, which we want to put as high. We don't need to put this as an expression because it's always going to be high. And our final one is key. And again, you want to copy your API key into the value box. And then that is the second node done. So now we're going to get all these Solr details here as our output. It's a long list. I'm not going to go through all of them. But it's going to give us all the details that we need to send into our first AI node. Okay, perfect. Now we can send it into our first Gemini node here, which is where we're going to calculate how many panels that we actually need. So to add our AI node in here, I'm just going to hit add, and then I'm going to search up Gemini. And then it's going to be to messenger model. So if I scroll down and then hit messenger model here. Obviously, you want to connect your Google account up here and everything, and select the Gemini 3 preview model. This is the newest model at the time of this recording anyway. And we want to get into our prompt to tell it how to produce this number. So it's really simple. We just want to all we want it to do is calculate how many panels this home can fit on it. So we're giving it the Solr details from our previous node here. So you can't just drag and drop all these details over. You actually need to put json.stringify and then get Solr details, which is the name of our previous node. So you might have to manually write that out. And then we want to drag over the user's current monthly bill. So if I close these fields down, current monthly bill in here is 100. So I literally just drag and drop this over into there. And this is going to give our AI all the information it needs to work out. This is going to give our AI all the information it needs to work out how many solar panels that can fit on our property. Okay, perfect. Now the next one is where we're going to get a satellite image of our property here. So we're going to hit add. Again, another HTTP one, HTTP request add. And then we're going to go into our node here. We're going to leave this as get, and this is going to be our endpoint for this node. So I'm not going to go into documentation. I think you kind of get the idea now, but this is going to be the endpoint that we want. Again, we want to turn on send query parameters, and the first one we're going to name it is center here. And then for the value we want to put in the latitude and the longitude. So if we go to our get Solr details node, then we can see we've got a field called center, and we can actually drag it over latitude and then put a comma and then longitude in there. And that is going to give us a satellite view of our property. Then the next query we want to put is zoom. I'm going to put that value as 21. And then size, and then it's going to be 800 times 800. Map type we're going to put as satellite. Our API key, so we're just going to call it key, and then copy and paste your API key like you did for the other HTTP nodes. Now, as you're going to see, we're going to get an output image here, which is going to be our satellite.png. So if I click view, so this is the satellite image of the property that we've given in this workflow. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to send that image to our AI node here, which is going to put the solar panels that we've just calculated how many we can fit on, and it's going to put that onto the image that we've just got as our satellite image. So you want to add in another Gemini node here, just we did for the other AI node, but this time it's going to be an image one. We want to edit the image. So you want to put resource image and then edit image. And then select the Gemini 3 Pro image preview. Now, if I open up the prompt here, basically what we're telling it to do is we're telling it to add solar panels to the image. And we've told it from our previous AI node how many panels we can add. So as you can see, in this example, this property can fit 14 panels on its roof. So we've asked this node here to actually make an image of this. So if I come out of the prompt here, we just want to name the input binary field that's coming in. So this is this one here, satellite.png, and then what our output image is going to be. So it's going to be an AI roof image. So as you can see here, it's produced an AI roof image. So if I click view, so this has produced an AI image of our previous satellite image with enhanced quality. Okay, great. So we've got our first image now. So what we want to do is we want to upload this image because it's still just a binary file in our N8N workflow. We want our URL so we can use it in our email. So I want to hit again, another HTTP node, HTTP, add. And this is where we're basically going to upload that image that we just created, the AI roof image, to a URL so we can use it. So this is the endpoint that we want to be using. I'm just going to go over to ImageBB quickly. So you need to go over here to this website. So you need to go over to ImageBB here, sign up for an account. It's pretty simple. You take you less than a couple minutes. You don't actually need any of the paid plans. It's free for all we need. And then go to API. And then you want to generate your API key here. I'm going to delete mine after this video. But you want to copy this API key so that we can use to upload our images. So head back on over to N8N, copy this endpoint in here. You might have noticed that was on the ImageBB screen. And then we want to send on query parameters. And then we literally just want to put in our key for the name and then our API key that we've just copied there. And then scroll down and we're actually going to send a body this time. So we're going to leave this as form-data. And the type is going to be an N8N binary file here. We're going to name it image, and then the input data field name is going to be AI roof image. This is what we've got as our input file there. Now, the next node after we've just done that is going to be another HTTP node. I'm not going to show you how to add that in. I think you get the idea by now. But this time, instead of creating a URL, we are going to actually convert that from a URL to a binary so we can do some AI magic on it. So I'm going to leave the method as get, and the URL that we want to put in here is actually from our tally form. So if I go to the tally trigger, scroll all the way down, wherever it is, here it is, and this is the URL where the image is stored that the user uploaded. So you want to drag and drop this value over into the URL box there. And then you can literally leave everything else the same as it is. And this is going to get the image from that URL. So if I hit view, so this is what the user uploaded, or myself in this case. And now our next part is we want to add another Gemini edit image node, so the same as this one over here. And you can see the data we've got coming in is what the binary file that we just downloaded. And then this time in the prompt, what we want to do is we want to add solar panels to this image. So the image that the user uploaded is we're going to upload 14 panels in this case, which is the calculation from our AI node. And we're going to put that onto the image that they uploaded. So we've given it a few instructions how we want to do it. So obviously you want dark blue solar panels, which is what they pretty much all look like, aligned in neat rows, realistically placed. Yeah, so that's all the details that we need to give in our prompt. Now in our images here, we want to put the binary field name, which is just going to be data, and our output field is going to be AI Street View. So you can see once we've executed this, we're going to get an output file here, AI Street View. So if I hit view, and this is what our image looks like that the user uploaded, but this time we've got solar panels all over their roof. Okay, now going on to our next node, another HTTP node. I'm just going to hit view here so you can see this is the input file that we just created. And this time, again, we're going to be uploading our image onto ImageBB so we can use the URL. So it's the same endpoint that we had as before. Turn on send query parameters, and again, put in key and your API key in there. And then we want to hit send body, and it's all the same fields that we had in our node, which was over here. Okay, so now that we've generated all the images and we've got all the information, we just need to generate the email using another AI node, and then we need to send it off via Gmail. So you want to add another Gemini node in here. Again, go to the plus and then search up Gemini. And then we're going to be messaging a model. So hit message a model here. So once you've got this, you want to just select the latest models available. So at the moment, for me, it's the Gemini 3 Pro. And then we're going to open up the prompt. So in here, we're letting the model know who it is, and we're giving it some info about the customer's address, what their monthly bill is, their email, anything that's relevant. And we're also giving the URL for the Street View. So those are both the images that we just uploaded. And we've given it a few tasks. So we've told it to find the financial scenario that matches their bill. And we've obviously inputted this into the tasks part here. So we've given it a few tasks. One of them is to find the financial scenario that matches their monthly bill. Obviously, this is also information that we would have got from the customer, which we've drag and dropped as a field in. Then we want to extract all the relevant numbers. We want to research local solar incentives. And the most important part is we want to fill in the HTML template, which is below. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but this is basically the template which is going to allow you to send off that email that I showed you at the start of the video. Now again, if you just go to the description, fill out the form, make sure to like and subscribe as well, and you'll get this whole template free, and you can just copy it all in. But that's this node pretty much completed. And our final node here, we want to add in a Gmail node. So I'm going to hit plus here and then search Gmail. And we just want to send a message. So you want to scroll down to send a message here and click on that. I'm going to go down to the email address here and then drag and drop the value in. And then name the subject whatever you want. I'll just put it as your solar estimate and then leave the email type as HTML. Now for the message part here, this is what we're going to get out of our previous nodes. We're going to drag and drop the AI's output into the message part. But that is everything from start to finish. So we've got a tally trigger here, which starts this workflow anytime a customer fills out the form. And then we've got a Gmail node here as our output, which is going to send a customizable solar quote to our user. If you're an AI agency making builds like this for solar companies, please make sure to like and subscribe if you did find this useful. If you're a solar company and you think an automation like this might be something that's useful for you, go to the link in the description and we can start building something like this for your company. That's all for me today. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.